Now we're going to practice graphing some inequalities. So let's look at this problem rather. We want to determine graphically the solution set for x minus 2y is strictly greater than 0. So remember, when we're dealing with these types of inequalities over here, we can treat them just as if it were an equation. So we can say, let me rewrite this here. So it'd be x minus 2y is greater than 0. I'm going to solve this for y just as I would if it were an equation. So I'm going to subtract x. So I will get negative 2y is greater than negative x. And now what I want to do is divide by a negative 2. And remember, when you're dealing with inequalities and you divide or multiply even by a negative number, we have to switch the direction of the inequality. So when I divide by this negative 2, I'm now going to get y is strictly less than. Notice I switched the sign. I divide by the negative 2 and I get a positive x over 2, which you can think of as also y is less than 1/2 x if you prefer it that way. So now we need to graph it. The y-intercept on this one is 0. So we're going to graph 0. Our slope is 1/2, so that means we go up 1 over 2, and we graph this point here. This is a strict inequality, meaning there is no equal to it. It is strictly less than. So we draw a dotted line that goes through those 2 points. And now we want the y values that are less than. So you put your pen or pencil here on the y-intercept. Y values that are less than is this portion of the plane down here. So we shade this region, meaning that any point in this shaded region is going to solve or satisfy this inequality. All right, let's look at another example. So for this one, we want to determine graphically the solution set for 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 14. So let's write that down here. 5x minus 2y is less than or equal to 14. So again, we're going to solve this just as we did when we had equations. I'm going to first subtract 5x. So I'm going to get this into something that looks like slope-intercept form. So I would get negative 2y is less than or equal to a negative 5x plus 14. And now I'm going to divide by a negative 2. Remember, when dividing or multiplying by negatives, and you're looking at inequalities or dealing with inequalities, when you divide by the negative, it's going to switch the direction of the inequality. So instead of being less than or equal to, when I divide, we will switch it to greater than or equal to. So now dividing by that negative 2, I will get y is greater than or equal to 5/2 x minus 7. All right, so we graph this. It looks like it's in slope-intercept form. My y-intercept is negative 7. So we graph the y-intercept. And in this instance, each of these lines is worth 2. So this is actually like negative 2. This one down here then is negative 4. So you can see this would be negative 6. This then is going to be negative 7 as my y-intercept. My slope is 5/2. So as long as these have a value of 2 for each of the lines, and I make each of these have a value of 2 for each of the lines, then I can go strictly up 5 and over 2. Plot this point here. You may want to plot a few more points to see if it would help you draw your straight line. But this one is a greater than or equal to, so we draw a solid line through these points. I want y values that are greater than this expression, so we put our pen or pencil down here on the y-intercept. Y values that are greater are y values in this plane here, so we shade this portion, and that denotes any point in this shaded region is going to satisfy this inequality.